Hello, everybody. This is David Bryson. I will be your educator today, and we will be discussing the Glovebox script for dealing with police stops, tickets, and court summons. So the goal is to put together some kind of universal script that can keep people safe and secure in their possessions and out of the courts and away from the extortioners. So putting together some information from a bunch of sources, I've made my best attempt thus far in creating a script. And I will be reading the whole thing to you, but I'll just give you a quick little view here. I've got it on Google Docs, and I will be sharing a link to it. So now okay, I guess I can't pull it down here, but that's what it looks like. And I will be sharing a link to this as a public Google document. So without further ado, let us begin today's lesson. Glovebox script for dealing with police stops, tickets, and court summons. 1. When you see that a public servant, always refer to them as such, has put on a red and blue light warning to pull you over as you are traveling non-commercially in your vehicle of conveyance or pleasure craft, follow these guidelines. Immediately put on your hazard lights and slow down by 10%, rather by 10 miles per hour. This alerts the public servant to the fact that you acknowledge him or her and that you are not evading or resisting a traffic stop. And then, B, proceed to a well-lit public place like a gas station or a deli for your own safety. There'll be witnesses there. And for the safety of the public servant so that they do not risk being hit by a car on the side of the road. Being parked legally in a public space refutes the need to have the car towed for any reason, as anyone with a valid license can come for it, and it can be registered or insured the very next day if either has elapsed. C. As you drive to the well-lit public space, breathe deep. Relax, smile, and know that everything will work out for the highest good of all. Breathe and visualize yourself surrounded by white light, angels of protection, or the power of the Creator or Source. D. As you drive to the well-lit public place or once there, make sure you are ready to use your $25 dash cam from Amazon. Go look it up. Your 5.0 app for your iPhone. 5.0 is spelled capital F-I hyphen capital V-O. 5.0. Download it today. And prepare to initiate a live Google Hangout on your 4G iPad or other tablet device. Turn off your engine and any music or radio. Be completely relaxed, at ease, and fully present. Don't forget to breathe. 2. Lock all your doors. Do not lower your window more than 1 centimeter when the public servant walks up to your window. Maintain solid eye contact and smile. It is likely that they will ask you to lower the window, and you just smilingly reply along these lines. There's no need to. I can hear you just fine, and I'm comfortable with the window at its current level, thank you. I'm a peaceful man, and I bestow my blessing of peace upon you right now. Will you assure me of your peaceful intentions as well? Again, I am a peaceful man, and I want to have your assurance that you will deal peacefully and professionally with me. Will you? Once they acknowledge that they are peaceful too, proceed. First, I will be needing your name and badge number and some form of ID so I know exactly who I am dealing with. In addition, I am making you aware that our entire interaction is being recorded on 3 video devices which upload all video and audio to a remote and secure server in real time. Again, this is both for your safety and for mine. Now, these 3 devices are your $25 Amazon dash cam, recording onto a $20 video card, your iPhone with the 5.0 app, which starts recording as soon as it is opened and uploads all video and audio to your Dropbox. Make sure 5 of your friends and family have the login and password info for your Dropbox account. And also the third device being the iPad or 4G tablet, which is recording everything in a live Google Hangout, just like we're having right now, with friends watching, and which is then automatically converted into a shareable YouTube video. You will have to organize with 20 or 30 friends and create a shared Google Circle so that you can invite them to the live Google Hangout all at once by inviting that Google Circle at the touch of a button. Practice Hangouts in advance to get the hang of them. Agree to be available for your friends as well as a live witness in a similar situation. One little addendum. If you are able to get your friends onto the live Google Hangout, it would probably be great to hold up the tablet and show the police that he's actually got live witnesses as well, besides having recordings being uploaded in real time. Now this is very important. Do not allow the public servant to establish joinder. That means making that connection right there, you know. They need to establish joinder before they can proceed. It's a way of establishing jurisdiction. So in legal terms, that's the first thing they try to do, is to establish joinder. So do not allow the public servant to establish joinder or gain jurisdiction by handing them any ID with the all caps name. Now you may or may not be aware of the legal name fraud. You should Google it, or a video called Meet Your Straw Man. But the all caps name is on all of your ID, and they seek to obtain this in order to gain your consent to contract with them. Now most people give their consent and establish joinder as soon as they hand over the license, registration, and insurance, please, upon request. You must be strong and refrain from doing so. Without your consent, they cannot establish joinder and cannot gain legal jurisdiction over you, the living man or woman, traveling peaceably in your pleasure craft of conveyance. Never say vehicle, car, automobile, or driving. Every time this matter has been brought to the higher courts, the right to travel has been reconfirmed as a fundamental inherent right, which cannot be infringed. They can only involve you in their fraudulent legalandia name games by obtaining your consent to be surety or guarantee for the all caps name, the corporation that was set up and established legally when you were registered at birth via the birth certificate. After obtaining the ID, name, and badge number of the public servant, do not say anything other than, I'm a natural-born citizen of a sovereign state and I am not subject to the motor vehicle code. I thoroughly know the law and my rights. I invoke my right to remain silent. If he or she tries to get more info, asking questions, simply say, I do not answer questions. Am I being detained? Am I free to go? Am I under arrest? I don't answer questions. Am I free to go? If the public servant says you are not free to go, ask again, am I under arrest? If the public servant says no, then reply, well then I will just be on my way, have a good day or evening, and start your car. If the public servant continues to equivocate and stall, invoke a higher authority and demand to speak to his superior, the local county sheriff, as you feel that your, quote, rights are being violated as per United States Code Title 18, Sections 241 and 242, which are conspiracy against rights and deprivation of rights under color of law, respectively, each carrying heavy civil penalties that you, the public servant, can be held personally liable for. Then immediately ask one final time, am I being detained? Am I free to go? If the public servant says you are not free to go, say, for the record, what is the articulable probable cause that leads you to believe that I have committed or am about to commit a crime that authorizes you to stop and detain or arrest me? I am not operating in a for-hire capacity by engaging in any form of transportation or other commercial use of the highways. Officer such and such, badge whatever, please acknowledge that you have been so informed. For the record, it is my belief that the information you are demanding may possibly be used against me in a court of law or in an attempt to incriminate me. And if that is so, then upon the advice of legal counsel, I must respectfully decline to provide you with any information or evidence that possibly can or would be used against me for those purposes. In addition, I do not consent to being detained by you for any additional time or other purposes. Am I free to go, or are you just going to continue to illegally and falsely imprison me beyond the time needed to conclude this stop? If the public servant continues to stall or equivocate, rather than permit you to be on your way without further impediment, say, for the record, in order to protect my rights and not waive any by error or accident, I wish to clarify my legal understanding of this situation. You said that I am not free to go, so I must conclude I am in a custodial arrest and not simply an investigative detention. Therefore, I am invoking all of my fundamentally protected rights, including my rights to remain silent and my right to assistance of counsel. From this point forward, I do not consent to providing you with any information or documents that could or will be used against me in a court of law or to possibly incriminate me. So please do not ask me to produce anything and give it to you. From this point forward, please do not ask me to answer any questions or to perform any form of test relating to any matter whatsoever without my legal counsel present. Officer such and such, badge number whatever, do you intend to harm, injure, or punish me by any method of assault, arrest, or incarceration because I have invoked these fundamentally protected rights? Now, if the public servant makes any inference that he smells alcohol or marijuana, because they're trained to do this in order to justify bringing K-9 units or possibly smash through a window, you immediately have to rebut that by saying, officer whatever, badge such and such, your statement is patently false and an outright lie. Are you now trying to fabricate probable cause by making false statements into the record and false allegations against me? The public servant implies threat in any way, either overtly or directly. Say, officer such and such, badge number whatever, due to your attitude, demeanor, and your continuous threats to falsify charges and commit acts of violence against me and my property while displaying a deadly weapon, I feel physically threatened and in fear for my life. I demand that you cease and desist and request the immediate presence of a supervisor. I do not consent to any of your actions, the use of force against me or my property, or to being forced to exit my car for any purpose, especially so that you may attempt to steal my property and or assault, injure, or kill me. Now, if the public servant continues to threaten you in any way, say and repeat over and over again for every new threat, and remember, stay calm. Don't escalate the situation. Don't give him any justification to respond, with aggression. Officer so-and-so, badge number whatever, I do not consent to being detained for any additional time or for any other purposes. Am I free to go, or are you going to continue to illegally terrorize, threaten, and falsely imprison me beyond the time needed to conclude this alleged transportation stop? At this point, it's likely that one of three things will happen. One, the public servant will realize that he caught a live one and will throw you back into the water and let you go unmolested. Two, he will issue you a ticket or summons, and we have information on how to sign that below. Or three, he will call for backup and or ask the sheriff to be present. Now remember, invoking and refusing to waive your fundamental rights is not and cannot be converted into a crime. If you are arrested and charged falsely for interfering or obstruction, then you get to sue the crap out of them and receive just compensation and damages, which means lots of money. Remember, your personal safety comes first. Never comply or agree with any proposal the public officer makes, because that grants them power and jurisdiction and will come back to bite you on the butt. Do not exit the vehicle under any circumstances. If you need to, reiterate that everything is being recorded and uploaded live for all the world to see. Do not insult, challenge, or debate a public servant at a traffic stop and get yourself hurt. Remain in honor. If for some reason they end up pulling some crazy ass move like smashing your window, at that point, comply with every directive of the officer and do not resist arrest or create any circumstances that can escalate violence or the use of force. Just remain totally and absolutely silent and go limp. Make them move you. Do not resist, but do not cooperate in any way in any of these unlawful and dishonorable actions. At this point, they are going to do whatever they are going to do. So if that means bringing you down to the police station, do not resist and do not speak. Immediately invoke your right to remain silent and just go with the flow. Invoke your right of habeas corpus if they intend to jail you. This is a constitutional guarantee of due process by which they must allow you to appear before a judge or magistrate to settle the matter before incarcerating you. Whatever you do, in court or out of it, never agree to be surety for the all caps name. Again, look up the legal name fraud or the video on YouTube called Meet Your Straw Man. Absolutely deprive them of the ability to gain joinder and challenge jurisdiction immediately while proclaiming as often as possible, I do not consent. I do not consent. So that's the first part of this. The second part, let's see if I get a screenshot up here, is going to be focused on dealing with the ticket, if that is the outcome here. And again, I will be sharing a link to this document and hope that you will share this YouTube video with all of your friends. Back to Professor Dave. Okay, tickets. Now, if you are issued a ticket or summons, first, write in capital letters V.C. This stands for via compulsiva, okay? You write this before your signature, VC. V as in Victor, C as in Charles. And this indicates that you are being forced to sign under threat. And this will be important in the court case that you bring when you sue the municipality for your violation of rights. Secondly, sign with an illegible scribble mark as your signature, followed by the words without prejudice dash UCC 1-308. Again, that's without prejudice, capital letters UCC, which stands for Universal Commercial Code or Uniform Commercial Code 1-308. This reserves all your rights. And then on the bottom right of the ticket, before you hand it back to the ticketing officer, on the bottom right, use these four letters, UDTC, under duress, threat, and coercion. So, of course, you know, the public servant is slipping this to you through the little crack in your window, no greater than a centimeter. Take your copy home, and you know, after you give him back or her back the ticket that you signed with VC without prejudice, UCC 1-308, and then under duress, threat, and coercion in the bottom right with your little scribble. Now you're going to take your copy home and get this matter settled in the next 72 hours, which is your 3-day right of rescission or right of refusal to contract. So across the face of the ticket, diagonally and in red ink, write disputed, comma, refused for cause. Again, disputed, refused for cause. This indicates your refusal to contract. 2, sign again with an illegible scribble mark as your signature. Date it and copy this ticket. And then send it return receipt, which is your proof of reception that they actually got it. Send it to the address listed and make sure it is postmarked within 72 hours of its issue. This is the period of right of refusal, the 3-day right of rescission that you can revoke any contract that you've entered into. If you change your mind, you have the guarantee of the law that you are no longer bound to the terms of that contract. Now, if you do this, you should never hear from the court again. If there's a formal response and you are asked to appear in court, be sure to make a special appearance, which you'll have to Google that. Special appearance is a way of showing up in court, but not physically. It's a way of settling the matter without having to ever physically appear or show up in court. And now that we've dealt with the ticket section, we are now going to go to the court section. Let me do a little screen share here just to mix things up a little bit. By the way, if you like, you know, this whole get up here, this is Google Hangouts that I'm using. It allows me to get a temple background and wear this professor's cap and this monocle. The beard is real, believe it or not. Okay, so screenshot for the Glovebox script. Now we have the section on dealing with the court. Okay, so if for some reason you wish to accept the invitation to court, go with an understanding of these legal terms and case laws. First off, quo warranto, which means by what authority? Challenge jurisdiction. Because before any legal proceedings can go on, jurisdiction must be established. And if it is challenged, it must be proven. So it is up to you to ask, by what authority do you presume to bring any charge against me? By what authority do you presume to have jurisdiction over me, the living man? 2, 18, United States Code 31, Chapter 6, which is the definition of a motor vehicle. You want to be clear on the legal definition of that motor vehicle and why you are not driving one. Thirdly, USC Title 18, Section 241 and 242. This is the real important one. You can look it up online. This is conspiracy against rights and deprivation of rights under color of law. This is how you sue public servants who violate your rights and seek damages and are awarded damages. And you know, this is the law that they don't want you to know about, because this provides you, you know, the remedy that you're looking for when your rights are violated. We've got Hobbs Act 18, United States Code 1951. Now this deals with robbery and extortion. In case, you know, the car has, or the pleasure craft has been impounded for any reason. It prevents the taking of personal property if your pleasure craft is impounded. And then Title 42 USC 1983, which is a civil action for deprivation of rights. This is used to sue judges and public servants or police for abuse of authority and dereliction of duty. You also want to take a look at FRCP 12b6, which is to help avoid being ignored with a regular tactic that they use in courts, which is failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. Make sure you always state a solid and lawful claim upon which remedy must be granted. And remember, your consent is gained via adhesion contracts that were never disclosed to you at the titling and registering of your vehicle or pleasure craft. See CVC 17459, 17460, or the Charlie Sprinkles case. It applies in your state as well, or their law becomes void for vagueness. Okay, so in court, you must appear sui juris, which means of one's own law, of one's own oath, of one's own right. It's interchangeable. But in other words, nobody, you know, you're not showing up with an attorney or any kind of representation. You are presenting yourself and standing in your own authority, sui juris, as a belligerent claimant. Now, the law states clearly that you must be a belligerent claimant of rights in order to invoke the power and utilize your rights in a courtroom setting. So that's what it means to be a belligerent claimant. Look it up. So you must appear sui juris as a belligerent claimant of your inherent right to travel. Your goal is to establish on the record that you were engaged in travel and that you were not driving or operating in commerce. Motor Vehicle Code only applies to those who are driving in commerce or for profit. If you need more time to prepare your case, you can always motion to postpone to a future date. Never take a plea deal or enter a plea of any sort. If the judge enters a plea for you, object right away and motion to strike the plea. Demand to know what rules the court is going to proceed against you with so that you can use their own rules against them. They rarely follow them to a T, and if you can point out a procedural error, the case will be dismissed with prejudice. Raise the issue prior to trial that they have violated their own procedural rules and that they have done so in a manner that knowingly and willingly violated the right of due process. Proceed to the point out of the numerous crimes listed in the New Jersey or your state penal code that they have actually committed by doing so, even to the degree of pointing out how they had gone about violating each element of the crime, they may bluff and proceed right up to trial, but will end up dismissing the case anyway. If they did not dismiss, all the motions you have written and filed would become an active part of the record on appeal, and their crimes would now be open to the public via the pleadings in the attached criminal complaints. When you're in court, keep asking questions, even if it takes hours. Ask them to legally define everything. Now, as a last resort, file a deprivation of rights case using oath of office violations for breach of contract under Article 1, Section 10.1 of the U.S. Constitution. Request discovery, proving the existence of the law that you must be regulated to travel. Now, federal law trumps states' statutes and codes, neither of which are laws. Look up the Uniform Bonding Code PDF. You can do this through Google. Again, Uniform Bonding Code. The PDF, either version 5.2 and as well 9.2. Now, this PDF will educate you on how municipalities are bonded and insured. That's what it means to be bonded. It means to be insured. And how you can go after the bonds of individual municipal employees like judges or police officers if they violate your rights. Now, the last thing a municipality wants is to become uninsurable from too many violations where the insured municipal employees have been repeatedly sued for abuse and have increased liability to the point where the bonding company drops the policy and no other bonding company will cover such a troublesome municipality that cannot keep their employees in check. Challenge jurisdiction of the public servants. This is Title 5 USC 556D. And demand that they prove that they are lawfully qualified to practice law over your rights under the Bill of Rights. Ask the judge and prosecutor for their oaths, and if you lose the case, again, you can file that Title 42, 1983 action against the public servants. The judge and prosecutor are committing deprivation of rights, as are all other public servants, in fact. So we hope that this has been an enjoyable educational experience for you. It's really important to know your rights and to exercise your rights. And you know, the only way that we're going to really be able to turn things around in this country that is becoming overrun by you know, lawlessness among the people who claim to be public servants and who should be enforcing the law is when we, the people, finally educate ourselves. You can always get yourself a copy of Black's Law Dictionary from Amazon to begin to decipher all the legalese and code words that they use to keep you in deception and ignorant. There's a reason why they use that language and why it's legally regarded as a second language altogether. And as well, there's some great groups online. You can make a request if you know somebody who's in the secret group, Sue Juris, Law for Beginners. My name is David Bryson on Facebook. You can send me a request to add you. Yeah, Facebook did this thing that once a group hits a certain size, you know, if you have turned it secret even temporarily, you can't open it up to greater access like it's simply a closed group or an open group, so it kind of stinks. But anyway, you can make a request and somebody can add you to that secret group. And then you've also got other groups like Proceeding Sue Juris, which is a great group run by a friend of mine, Neil Rowe, whose information contributed greatly to this video today. Also want to acknowledge Eddie Craig, who's a former police officer who informed this video today as well in terms of how to speak and what kind of language to use with police. But remember, this is all about maintaining honor and respect for the law and helping to preserve rights for future generations. So, you know, keep it safe on the road there. Print out a copy of this script for you and your friends. Keep it in your glove box. Pull it out whenever you're pulled aside, and stay in your rights and stay in your power. Don't let these people extort you for hundreds or thousands of dollars and ruin your life for doing nothing else than traveling lawfully from point A to point B. Thank you for your time, and once again, I will be sharing the link to this in the comments or description section of the video. Until next time, it's David Bryson sharing thoughts on law with you.